Mike Toth and Jim Lang sitting in for the Golden Girls, Martine Gard and Sean McCormick. And we welcome the audience who is just watching the New York Yankees put the finishing touches on their victory over the Texas Rangers. Blue Jays also win, Jim, so as a result, the Yankees still 2-up on the Blue Jays in the furious fight for first place in the American League East.
And we do have soccer coming up later on after the show here. Now, there's a lot on the line as TFC will take on the Vancouver Whitecaps tonight in the Nutralite Canadian Championship. A winner or draw, and TFC will win the championship, and they will earn a berth in the opening round of the CONCACAF Champions League. With a preview of this match coming up in a few minutes, here's Jerry Dobson and Craig Forrest.
It's a gorgeous evening for football in BC's lower mainland, not far from downtown Vancouver. In the mountains is Burnaby, BC, and Swangard Stadium. The pitch is perfect, the weather is ideal, and we have two teams fighting to win the 2009 Nutralite Canadian Championship. Toronto in the driver's seat, all they need is a win and a draw. Vancouver must win this game, and so we expect them to go forward, Craig, and they have some weapons to do that as well.
Yes, they do. I mean, Toronto FC, I believe, would be the favorite team coming in there. They have an advantage, but there are two players up front for Vancouver. Marcus Haber and Charles Biquet work very well together. Biquet usually holds it up, and he looks to find Haber, and this is an example against Montreal in the Canadian Championship a week ago or so. They do link up very well. They're both big, they're both strong, but watch for the long ball down the middle as well. Biquet there, he was the one that usually comes forward, like I say, wins most of them. Second phase is important for Toronto FC to pick up. And here's a player on the ball right now, getting the ball. Martin Nash, he is suspended for this one, a key player in this one, but these players, Haber and BK, can cause some troubles. And also on set pieces, and Wesley Charles, the center back for Vancouver, could cause some trouble as well.
Greg Sutton, the surprise starter, because Stefan Fry has an infected foot, so he will be playing for Toronto tonight as they try and close it out. Here's the standings as we head into this game. Montreal already eliminated. A win or a draw for Toronto puts them through. Vancouver must win this one, then hope that Toronto lose against Montreal in the final game, and then it'll come down to the tie-breaking scenario. So we're all set for a beauty here tonight in Burnaby, BC. Now back to Sportsnet. With 2 games to go in the 2009 Nutralite Canadian Championship, everything is still on the line as the Vancouver Whitecaps host Toronto FC. After dropping the tournament opener in Toronto, the Whitecaps have been full value, picking up 2 important wins over Montreal, setting themselves up for a showdown against the MLS squad. Can Vancouver pull off an upset of their own, or will TFC make up for last year's disappointment? The battle for Canada's National Soccer Championship continues, and it's next on Rogers Sportsnet. The most beautiful city in Canada has been enjoying some spectacular late spring weather, and we hope that not far from Vancouver we enjoy a spectacular match at Burnaby, BC and Swangard Stadium, where tonight it is a critical contest in the Nutralite Canadian Championship, where on a beautiful evening for football it will be the Vancouver Whitecaps against Toronto FC. Hi there, everyone, and welcome to Swangard Stadium in Burnaby, BC. In tonight's telecast, Jerry Dobson alongside Craig Forrest, as always. Glad to have you with us for this spectacular evening. It is absolutely gorgeous as we await this contest between two teams that are both still in the competition. You couldn't ask for any more than that.
No, you really couldn't. I mean, for Toronto FC, they got a chance to close this tournament out. They have the chance to win their first trophy in their short history. For Vancouver Whitecaps, they've done a terrific job winning their last 2 games in the Nutralite Canadian Championship to set this game up. They've got a great opportunity. They are missing a couple key players, but it's all to play for, and it's a great night to be here.
Let's show you the standings as they sit right now heading into this one. Toronto has played 1 game fewer than both Vancouver and Montreal. The Montreal Impact have already been eliminated. Both Toronto and Vancouver are in contention. Now let's look at the tie-breaking scenario should it come to that. All Toronto need to do is win or draw this game, then they would advance on a better head-to-head record against Vancouver. If Vancouver wins this game, then Toronto must win their final game in Montreal, and then it will come down to goal differential between Vancouver and Toronto. If they're equal there, it would be then total goals scored, and if they're equal on that one, it would be the dreaded drawing of lots. And nobody wants to get to that point, and we've got a lot more to talk about before we ever get there. Charles Biquet will cause fits for that Toronto defense once again, and he'll also be facing a surprise starter in goal for Toronto FC. It will be Greg Sutton, and we'll have both lineups and the story behind Sutton's start when we come back.
Nutralite Canadian Championship on Rogers Sportsnet. Brought to you by Nutralite, proud sponsor of Canadian soccer coast to coast. By BMO Financial Group, proud to support soccer across Canada. And by PokerStars.net, the world's largest poker site. Visit them today and learn to play for free.
And welcome back once again, everybody, to Swangard Stadium in Burnaby, BC. As you look at downtown Vancouver, gorgeous weather. Temperature approached 30 degrees today. It's cooled off somewhat, but it is a beautiful evening for football. Head coach Tater Torderson and his Vancouver Whitecaps, they know what the task is ahead of them. They have to pull off a victory here tonight and then hope for the tie-breaking scenarios to kick in. And here's what he will put out facing Toronto FC.
Yeah, key player Marcus Haber. He's a big, strong Canadian. He's only 20 years old. You might remember him from the Canadian under-20 team. He actually plays center back, but that's the only time he's really confident with that. One player you didn't see there was Martin Nash, suspended.
There's Chris Cummins, head coach for Toronto FC, and he has made 4 changes to his lineup as head coach Tater Torderson, and there's the big man up front.
And it's a 4-3-3 combination. Toronto do like to do that. Big Danny Dicchio was actually rested for the last game against Houston to be fit for this one.
And we are underway at Swangard Stadium. Vancouver wearing white, Toronto wearing red. Once again, and there's the officials. Caroline Chenard, the very qualified and very talented as a referee. Caroline Chenard, she does a terrific job at the MLS level as well. Toronto with a 4-3-3, as you mentioned, Craig. And interestingly enough, all Canadians at the back.
Yeah, it's all Canadians at the back, and they'll be up against 2 strikers up front for Vancouver, and Haber and Biquet, who was born in the Côte d'Ivoire but is a Canadian citizen now. So it's up to Toronto. If that back line keeps a clean sheet, then Toronto FC will be the champions of the Nutralite Canadian Championship.
Adrian Serio, one of those Canadians, tossing it into another Canadian, Dwayne De Rosario, looking for a streaking Pablo Vitti, one of 3 strikers up front. Chad Barrett on the left, Vitti on the right, Danny Dicchio in the middle. And for Vancouver, once again, there are 2 big guys up front. Charles Biquet, the man with the ball right now, and Marcus Haber, who's in the middle of the box right now looking for a pass that doesn't come, although he nearly wins a ball there. Headed by Jim Brennan. Ball put in play for Chad Barrett, too far, headed by Jeff Park, who's back in the lineup for Vancouver tonight. Hirano, the left back. Martin, Park, and Gordon Chin all back in the lineup. They did not start the game against Portland, a 2-0 loss for Vancouver in USL action on the weekend. Number 8 is Wes Knight with the ball for Vancouver. Now it's Lyle Martin, whose job it will be tonight to close down Dwayne De Rosario.
And now it's going to be a difficult task because Dwayne De Rosario, for my money, is a game changer, and it's going to be a test.
Here's Biquet working into a good spot to answer Toure to the other side. And we talked off the top of the show how Greg Sutton gets the start tonight because Stefan Fry picked up a foot infection as they take a corner kick, and it's a quick one. We'll elaborate on that in a moment. It's into the box. Biquet, header by Haber, and it's swallowed up by Sutton. But once again, Stefan Fry said his foot didn't feel quite right during the game in Houston, and then it just ballooned up on the flight back to here from Houston, and so Greg Sutton gets the call.
Yeah, and it didn't show much improvement at all, and Greg Sutton, obviously a very good goalkeeper in his own right, making a poor clearance there, and he must be a little bit rusty, but he is competent, no sure doubt about that. The goalkeeper, former USL goalkeeper of the year, 4 straight years, but he hasn't played for a while, so it's going to be difficult for him to get back into the routine there, and that wasn't the greatest clearance we saw from him just a second ago.
Greg Sutton has only seen action in two league games this year. He came on in the second half of a 1-1 draw against Columbus March 28th, and then he started the following game April 4th, a 2-0 loss to Seattle. That was April 4th. He has not played since, and so he's thrown into the fire here tonight, but as you said, Craig, he's a very capable goalkeeper at this level. And there is the ball into the Toronto zone again. And it was Marcus Haber who couldn't really move it forward. He has to take it back. But Vancouver with some early pressure here. Toronto has not moved the ball forward at all yet. Of course, Vancouver knows they have to get at least 1 goal. A draw does not help them in this contest. Toronto wins the championship with a draw or a victory. Pablo Vitti chests it down. It's taken by Ethan Gage. There's Lyle Martin. Martin is fouled by De Rosario. Lyle Martin coming back from a broken foot. His first taste of action since that broken foot was that loss in Portland. Free kick here taken by Jeff Park. Serio against Biquet. Biquet wins the corner kick for Vancouver.
Charles Biquet has really good feet for a big man. Number 98 there. They'll be looking to hit him on set pieces. I think set pieces are an important part for Vancouver Whitecaps, especially with the absence of suspended Martin Nash.
Corner kick swung in, headed clear by Carl Robinson. Chasing it down is Martin. Tried to find Wesley Charles, who had moved all the way up there, but it's back to Takashi Hirano. Again, that's Charles, the central defender, who's back in the lineup after a suspension for the game against Montreal. A very strong center back for Vancouver.
Yeah, and he's another important player on set pieces with Haber, Biquet, and Charles. They got a lot of height in the box, and it'll certainly cause some troubles if the Toronto team do not pick those players up. Bright start for Vancouver, though.
It has been all Vancouver through the first 5 minutes. Long ball to Di Rosario, tries to head forward to Vitti. Di Rosario wins that ball. Through for Dicchio, offside. Flag went up and went right to the waiting hands of Jay Nolly at any rate. Launched down the pitch. Biquet, the back of Serio, calmly heads it to Sutton. Robinson for Sam Cronin. Toronto try to settle in a little bit here now. Brennan, the captain. Dicchio for Cronin. Now it's Barrett. Nana Atakora. Threads one through to Di Rosario. Intercepted by Hirano. Serio with the header. Lyle Martin. Ball into the corner for Wes Knight against Serio, and it's Toronto's ball.
Well, Dwayne Di Rosario tonight has a different role than he had on Saturday against Houston. He was on the middle against a Houston team on a three-pronged attack. Not the greatest player with his back to goal, and I think he's done a good job, Chris Cummins, bringing him back into the midfield, letting him get the ball to feet, running at defenders. He's much better at that, and I think he's be in his best position tonight. And midfield just wandering around. It's important that Vancouver pick him up.
Marcus Haber turns to get that ball. Feeds it into the middle to Gordon Chin. For Haber, good moves by Marcus Haber. Now it's Ethan Gage. Back for Martin. Martin's ball headed by Serio to Brennan. Now Cronin misplays it though, and fortunately for him, Gage slipped on the turf. Di Rosario for Chad Barrett. Toronto with something going now. Barrett looking for an option. Can't get it through to Di Rosario. And Sature. Brennan cuts that one out to Serio. Serio nearly misplayed it right to Haber, but he got it to Atakora. Robinson for Di Rosario. Floats one into the box. Barrett is offside.
Offside for Toronto. You can see there just slipping into the offside position. Vancouver do a really good job holding their line up the field. But at the same time have to be very careful because the runs from Toronto FC can be very clever at times. Chad Barrett can make good runs. With Dwayne Di Rosario and Carl Robinson will be looking to penetrate over the top and use the pace of a couple individuals. Danny Dicchio will be in there to flick things on.
Dicchio was rested for the game against Houston, with head coach Cummings knowing full well that he would use him in this game tonight where the weather would be a little more accommodating for the veteran striker. kick here, free kick for Jay Nolly. Headed forward by Haber to BK, but Serio was there. There is Atakora with the clearance for Dickio. Dickio's pass for Cronin misfired. Wes Knight. Robinson back to Atakora. Vancouver with a couple of early corner kicks inside the first 10 minutes of this match. Toronto with none, indicating the way the play has gone. That was a ball for Di Rosario, couldn't come down with Dickio. Lays it off for Chad Barrett on the right. Pardon me, that's Pablo Viti. Barrett's on the left. Robinson. Dickio, Robinson. Now it's Kevin Harms who's playing the right back position tonight. Return ball for Harms, and Toronto with 4 people forward here. Di Rosario, Harms, and then cleared by Martin. Viti back to Robinson. Now Brennan. Barrett. Brennan. Di Rosario. And he slips down. Lyle Martin eludes Di Rosario and then goes down. And Di Rosario, the culprit on that against Lyle Martin, who stays down. Martin's an interesting story too, because the last time Steve Nash, or Martin Nash, pardon me, played in a game for Toronto, or for Vancouver, as we look at that foul once again, Lyle Martin is the only player left on this team since the last time Martin Nash missed a game for the Vancouver Whitecaps. That was in 2007. That's how much turnover has taken place. Of course, Nash suspended for this one. That's the 3rd foul for Toronto, 2 for Vancouver. Brennan does the work there. Knocked into touch by Gordon Chin, who was a wayward fellow as well, without a team for a while after played in China, was released, has ended up back here with the Whitecaps. Dickio trying to get it through to Di Rosario, but it's Wesley Charles doing the defensive work there. Throw in upcoming for Chad Barrett.
Great defending by Wesley Charles. Big and strong. He didn't let Di Rosario get a touch on it. And if he did, he was going to go right through him. Big and strong individual. Charles, definitely the best defender for the Vancouver Whitecaps, and arguably the best player over the last 12 months.
Barrett leaves the throw in for Adrian Serio, who will launch one all the way into the box. There's Nolly. He spills it. That one's available, and it's called. Referee blows that one down. So it doesn't matter that Nolly spilled it.
Well, Jay Nolly trying to come and help out his defense. They know the long throw is coming in from Serio, and Danny Dickio is looking to get on the end of it. He comes forward. He's actually bumped into his own defender there and gone over, and he's a bit fortunate. You see Nana Atakora there unhappy, but it looks as though he went over his own player, Wes Knight.
Barrett with a little flick into the middle. However, Charles misplays it. Viti for Di Rosario, giving chase. Di Rosario still with it. For Barrett. Barrett working in. There's a cross. Cleared by Park. Haber goes down, play on, says the referee. This is Wes Knight for BK. That didn't work. A groan from the crowd here. The partisan crowd at Swangard Stadium. Burnaby, BC. Di Rosario lays it right to Gordon Chin. Now it's Park. Here's Charles. Atakora beats BK to that one. Harms knocks it down the pitch for Viti. There's the return ball for Viti, too far. Charles has it. Ansature. Toure gets around Di Rosario for Haber. On comes Sutton. Marcus Haber has looked very lively for the Vancouver Whitecaps here in the early going through the first 14 minutes. Toronto players slow to get up.
Carl Robinson picked up a knock in a tangle and landed on his hands with Haber. And I thought Carl Robinson was actually fortunate not to get booked because he lashes out there as he pulls down. And somewhere in there he ended up picking up a hand injury. Ever since that, he's been struggling after that tackle by Haber. And that.
Well, he's in some obvious pain there right now as Carmelo Abue works on him.
And Marcus Haber there is a big, strong forward. Carl Robinson is a very important player.
He's going to have to come off at least for now. Whether maybe has dislocated a finger.
It looks as though it could be possibly a dislocation there. It is possible also that he could come back in the game. Chris Cummins and the medical staff will have to make a quick decision on him. Have a look at his left hand with the wristband on. It's caught up. Doesn't look like an awful lot. It might have caught his little finger on the grass somehow, but it was definitely after that he started to struggle. So we'll have to see what happens to Carl Robinson over the next few minutes.
Well, it looks like they're going to just simply tape it up for now and very likely send him right back out there. So Toronto will be a man short here for the next little bit. Dicchio, and that goes right to Nolly. Rosario looking for Di Rosario. Dicchio comes by to help out. Di Rosario ends up with it. Back to Harms. Local boy here playing for Toronto FC. This is Lyle Martin moving forward down the right side. Knight. That's Chin for Piqué. Again, Syria was on him like a shadow. Piqué can't get by Syria, but he does win a corner kick. Yet another one for the Whitecaps.
Quite an individual battle already growing there between Sirio and BK. They're really working hard against each other, bumping each other on high balls. Sirio knows he has to be able to compete with them and the rest of the defenders to clean up the second phase stuff around. Greg Sutton needs to organize his back line and his defense on these set pieces, as we said, very important to Vancouver Whitecaps.
Third corner kick here. Carl Robinson is back on the pitch. Sirio strong there defensively. There's a shot that's deflected over the bar, and it's another corner kick for Vancouver. This will be their fourth. A good start for the home team. The Whitecaps fans are into it as they sense maybe an upset here.
Well, Vancouver did very well there. Good clearance by Sirio, but at the top of the box, the strike comes in. Look as though it might have come off. Well, it certainly came off a Toronto player. Another corner to the Whitecaps.
Cleared by Adekora, but Martin pounces on it to keep the pressure on. To Charles, who had moved up for the set piece. Charles cross. Still not cleared effectively by Toronto. Martin. It's all that Sutton comes for, and he's there.
Good goalkeeping. The ball needs to be a lower flight, paced in, maybe whipped in with a bit of bend as well. You're going to hang them up in the top of the box. Goalkeeper like Greg Sutton's going to come and clean them up pretty easily.
Dicchio tried to head that forward, but in the end, the Vancouver back line, primarily Jeff Park, did the job getting it back to Nolly. Brennan first to that ball. Vancouver now on the counter. Haber for Toure. Harms is back there. Toure gets the ball first. Can't get by Harms, but it's another corner kick.
Well, Toure's the sort of player, he's a bit frustrating at times. He's got a ton of pace, and he will cause Toronto trouble if they can use him properly. Big job for Kevin Harms to try and keep him at bay. Does well defending there, gives away a corner, but that's okay. Again,
It's Sirio clearing the corner kick. Back in. Charles is still there fighting for it. Wes Knight back into the box. Now it's offside. Charles couldn't get back out of there in time. Wesley Charles, the captain for the Whitecaps in the absence of the suspended Martin Nash.
Well, Vancouver's bright. They did very well to get back in this Canadian Championship, losing the opening game to Toronto in Toronto 1-0 on a goal from Kevin Harms. They needed to win their next few games. And Taylor Torreson did a great job keeping them and getting a belief out of them to put themselves in a position where if they win tonight, they get a great opportunity to win this Canadian Championship.
That's Haber against Adekora, who goes down and stays down. And it's another corner kick for Vancouver, but Adekora is still on the pitch.
Well, we talked about these two players off the top, BK and Haber, and how hard they work and how difficult they are to play against. Sometimes not the prettiest, but they certainly work very hard. Nan Adekora gets a touch on that, goes down heavily, back of the head, he gets a knock.
Looked like he either hit his head on the back of Haber's foot or perhaps the ground. Either way, he's still down. Now he's working his way up. Shaken up a little, but will stay in. Vancouver putting plenty of pressure on Toronto here in the first 20 minutes of this match. And here comes yet another corner kick.
And here's a foul, well, not a foul, good clearance by Nana, and there he bangs his head on the ground, but he'll be okay.
The corner kick. Vancouver have been very impressive so far, Craig.
Yeah, they come out, the brighter team. Toronto FC, if you have a look at the corner coming in again, the foul that was given. Toronto FC were very poor against Houston. They started slow. They need to be pick themselves up here, because if they play like this for 90 minutes, they're not going to be the winners of this tournament.
Rosario's ball into the box was deflected into touch. It'll be a Toronto throw. So Adrian Serio will come up and take it as things slow down here a little bit as we wait for Serio. Right into the middle, looking for Dickio, cleared by Martin. Brennan back to Serio. For Cronin. Cronin has it. Cronin can't get free. Serio to Barrett. Back to Serio. Serio's ball cleared up by Park. Follow up. That was Sam Cronin, whose shot went looping high over the bar. Sam Cronin, one of those high first-round draft choices by Toronto FC, who has immediately entrenched himself in the Toronto lineup right from the get-go.
Yeah, Cronin's been a good player, a good pickup from Wake Forest. Going to be one for the future.
There's Wes Knight, who's way up there, causing Brennan trouble. Adekora helps out. Throw in Vancouver. Knight will launch it in there, and he'll take a big run up to the touchline to get it in play. That's Vitti clearing it. Back in there, Haber. The ball was dropped back for Chin, but he couldn't get to it. There's Di Rosario. Serio for Brennan. And he can't keep it in play.
A little sloppy for Toronto FC. Adrian Serio not laying that one off very well for Jim Brennan. But saying that, Adrian Serio, Chris Cummins will be delighted with his effort in there. He has attacked and won every ball in the box. He's been outstanding so far in the aerial battle with the two, Haber and BK.
White's throw-in comes right back to him. Ball in there, and it's headed that time by Harms. Vancouver pounce on him once again with Gage, the 18-year-old, back to Herrano. Herrano's pass is between Martin and Park. Martin chases it back. Park. offside again. BK has a chat about it with the assistant.
Yeah, and here it is. Just started in the offside position when the ball was played. He makes clever runs, though. Big man, pretty good touch, holds the ball up extremely well.
Barrett, Dicchio is down, and so is Lyle Martin. They collided on that long ball as they both went for it. Neither one of them have moved.
They've had a few injuries already in this game, a couple head injuries. One a few moments ago to Nana Adakor in this collision there with Danny Dicchio getting it in the back of the head. And both players are still on the deck getting treatment. Clash of heads. Danny Dicchio, concussion problems in the past. Kept them out for an awful long time. And he's an important part for Toronto. He's not a starter so much these days.
Well, Lyle Martin seems to have gotten the best of it. He's back on his feet, but Dicchio has remained motionless since he first went down. And that could be a decision here for Chris Cummins. If Dicchio can't continue, who will he bring on? On the bench are Marco Velez, Johan Smith, Rowan Ricketts, and Emmanuel Gomez. It's a thin bench with Amado Guevara and Marvell Wynn both away on international duty.
Yes, it is, and he was a big part, Danny Dicchio, as far as coming in here, being rested completely in Houston to be ready for this game. And these concussion problems started in the Nutralite Canadian Championship.
Well, Dicchio back up. Will he be able to continue?
Yeah, Danny Dicchio seems to have got the worst of it.
Well, Martin has to come off as well, so they'll both be off at least for the next moment or so.
Yeah, but Martin's going to be okay. He's showing no signs of anything going to be lasting. Danny Dicchio, can't say the same about him. He is struggling somewhat.
It appears as though he's going to continue, at least for now. As they're both back in the pitch and off camera, there a little handshake from the two of them and back into the battle. All right, here's Adakora. Chin. Martin, his first touch since the collision with Dicchio. Eludes Barrett. Robinson intercepts the pass. Vitti tried to lay it through to Barrett, didn't get it there. Back comes Knight. Chin over the top. Knight charging hard against Sirio. That's a goal kick. Knight doesn't believe it, neither does the crowd.
Very close call. The fans aren't at all happy. They thought they should have had another corner. Had a number of corners already. And here's a look at it. Very, very close. Two of them right underneath the noses of the linesmen.
Carl Robinson for Barrett. Martin is back. Safety first from Lyle Martin's point of view. Throw in Toronto. Barrett will take it, doesn't seem to know what to do with it, so he leaves it for Brennan. He's off Gage, another throw in for Toronto. Robinson now. Charles nods it back to Nolly. Robinson Pass goes to Martin.
Well, Carl Robinson have another word with Chad Barrett, and he was basically saying he had no other option except to put it down the line, and Barrett showed inside. It was frustrating for Carl Robinson not having an outlet.
Vitti. Now Haber has it for Vancouver to Toure. Vancouver on the march again. Toure from well out.
Well, he is a handful. You know, he's got some pace. He's difficult over the top. But he's also got a decent strike, and this wasn't far off either. Gets it out of his feet. Takes a touch. Nobody on. Has a good strike just by the left post of Greg Sutton safely for Toronto FC.
And one more look at it. Jeff Park lining things up here. It's in the box. Haber fighting for it. For Knight. Knight with a shot. Save Sutton. Rebound and score! Toure! 1-0 Vancouver.
Well, that's just what the doctor ordered for the Vancouver Whitecaps. It's now game on, and I think it's going to spark this game to life as well. It's a good finish, but this strike here, Greg Sutton gets a palm on it, but puts it back into play, and it bounces and lands kindly to Toure, who makes no mistake. Here's a shot, cross coming in. Sutton gets a good hand on it, but look where it drops, and Toure's not going to miss from there. Saying he causes trouble with his pace over the top, getting balls from wide positions. He's also come in with a big goal for the Vancouver Whitecaps. Massive goal for them. How will Toronto FC respond?
So Anso Toure has given the Vancouver Whitecaps a 1-0 lead. And once again, the scenario is this: a Toronto win or draw, they clinch it. If Vancouver win this game, then Toronto must win the last game of the Nutralite Championship in Montreal in a couple of weeks, and then it will come down to the tie-breaking scenarios, the first of which would be goal differential. So it all depends on how much Vancouver wins this one by, if they were to win that, and then what Toronto does in Montreal. Barrett nods it forward. If this game finishes 1-0, then Toronto would have to win 2-0 in Montreal in order to get back on level terms, and then it would go to the drawing of, well, it would go to goals scored first, and then the drawing of lots. This championship far from over. 32 minutes gone. Vancouver looking for another one. Toronto's struggles in Houston have continued here in Vancouver. Vancouver with their tails up right now.
And here's the ball that comes in to the box. Showing some strength. Serio's been working hard, and the clearance by Harms. But really, they are really with their backs against the wall right now. Toronto, Vancouver definitely have the upper hand. They have a skip in their step.
This is Nana Atagora. Kevin Harms. Cronin. Back to Harms. He has no options. Back to Sutton. Now Cronin for Pablo Vitti. Return pass is not a good one. Vitti gets tangled up with Hirano. Finally gets up. Di Rosario now for Robinson. Into the middle to Di Rosario. Takashi Hirano was there to clear it. Offside flag goes up on BK.
Well, one thing Toronto FC haven't done is got the ball over the back line, over the top of the back four, to get Barrett on the top of it, to try and get Vitti more involved. That hasn't happened. Vancouver's done an extremely good job of putting some pressure on players in midfield. Toronto has to do much better.
Haber. Chin. Back to Knight. That one smacked off Chad Barrett. Martin. Flicked forward by BK to Haber. Haber's having a strong game here for Vancouver. Chin to Hirano. Looking for Toure. Harms. Robinson for Dicchio. Di Rosario for Barrett. Barrett against Martin. Barrett's cross. Oh, and that mixed up Nolly. Corner kick for Toronto. As Nolly struggled with that one, Craig.
Yes, they did at both ends. Keeper's palming the ball back into play. Wasn't sure exactly where his goal was as the ball comes in. And he gets himself turned around, and in the end, palms it back right into play. And Toronto FC winning themselves a corner.
So Di Rosario to take the corner kick. Nitti is over there as if it might be a short one. We'll see. Toronto's first corner kick, 6 for Vancouver. Plays it back to Robinson. To Harms. And that one into touch. I get the feeling from the body language of the Toronto players that that set piece didn't go the way it was supposed to.
No, exactly. I don't think they were too happy about that. They've got some bodies in the box. Everybody's piled forward. They want to whip it in there, give it a chance. Jim Brenner's giving everybody a mouthful there, saying, get it in the mix of the first corner. Just test them defensively. And on that occasion, they didn't.
Here's Martin. BK again heading it forward, always looking for his strike partner, Haber.
Yeah, Haber likes to try and get in behind. BK usually wants to go first, win all those headers in the air. He's very good at it, very strong. Haber's got some pace, mostly in a straight line. But he does have some pace, and he's only 20 years old.
Cronin. Robinson. Back to Cronin, tight quarters to Di Rosario. Back to Cronin now with a little more room to work. Robinson, Di Rosario. For Barrett, Martin is there, and that's offside at any rate.
That's a better idea from Toronto FC, though, is to try to get the ball in behind the back four, test them, turn the defenders around, send them toward goal. Much better.
And there's Barrett with some hustle to end up winning a ball from West Knight. But then his pass for Di Rosario is not a good one as Jeff Park steps up and he's fouled by Cronin.
Toronto FC are really having a hard time getting to grips with what's going on and understanding each other. The confidence is definitely low. Chris Cummins might have some decisions to make as the game goes on. He's also thinking about goal differential. Losing by more than one goal is not good for Toronto FC either. Long way to go.
Vitti got Dicchio in the middle. Now he tries to lay it through for Di Rosario. Di Rosario with a chip. Saved off the line. Lyle Martin back to pull it off the line. Di Rosario slow to get up.
And there again, over the top, give the runners a chance to turn the defenders around, and you're going to create opportunities. If the runs are timed properly, Toronto FC have been a lot offside. Di Rosario there getting one on target, just not having enough on it to make it over the goal line. Vancouver breathed comfortably.
Brennan with the cross, cleared by Charles. Barrett couldn't control it. Martin cleared it. Toure gets by Vitti. Looking for BK. Suryo is there. Suryo to Robinson. Barrett blindly trying to pass it back to Suryo, but it was right to Lyle Martin. Now Barrett fortuitously gets it back for Sam Cronin, making a run down the left. Sam Cronin's cross chipped out by Park and then cleared by Charles. Cronin into no man's land. Nobody had made a run.
Cronin showing good desire to close down there. They need to be much better, Toronto FC. They're poor against Houston, closing down teams, restricting their space. And Vancouver doing a great job of just getting balls over the top and testing them and using the pace of Haber over the back line. It's great balance from Vancouver Whitecaps, and they deserve to be 1-0 up.
Martin back to Nolly. Approaching 40 minutes complete, just 5 more to go, plus time added in the first half. That's Adekora. Di Rosario for Barrett. Barrett is in. It's Barrett with a shot off the post.
Good effort from Viti. He had a chance. He's a sort of player, the Argentinian on loan from Independiente. He has been a player that hasn't done a lot, and it's about time he starts to produce. Good ball through. He's onside, and he takes a touch, goes in on goal. Has a lot of time. He looks up, strikes a good shot, but unfortunate off the post.
Meanwhile, they've sent it back in, but it's Charles clearing. Toronto coming close a couple of times. Di Rosario's shot, little chip, cleared off the line by Lyle Martin, and now Pavloviti hits the post. Di Rosario. Vancouver's ball here. So Toronto showing some signs, although Vancouver have been the better team throughout this first half. Toronto with a couple of scoring chances in the last few minutes. Here's Viti again. Viti long range shot.
Well, that's a bit better for Viti. Showing some bright spots in the periodically he does show that, but I think he needs to do more for Toronto FC. He's come here, he's had some opportunities. How many more opportunities will he get to shine? But that was his first little bit of good football from him, hitting the post, and a bit unfortunate. Toronto FC slowly coming into the game at the moment. Must be feeling a little more confident about themselves.
Park. Chin. BK was held up a little bit by Serio, and so that ball was a harmless one in the end. Dickio and Park colliding. Knight wins the ball. BK. Adekora stops Haber from getting clear. He might have been offside, but it doesn't matter now anyway. Robinson, Di Rosario. Sutton will have to play it to Brennan. That ball's for Viti. Hirano wins it.
It's a pretty ambitious ball from Jim Brennan, trying to hit that one 80 yards across the field. Just down the line over the top would have been a better option for Jim Brennan.
Adekora to Cronin. Robinson. Here's Brennan. Again, Toronto can find no way forward, so they play it back. Dickio fouled by Park. Park discussing it with referee Caroline Chenard. Just a minute and a half of normal time left here in the first half. Vancouver 1, Toronto FC 0. Ansu Toure with the goal. Here's Di Rosario's free kick. too low and easily knocked out by BK. Barrett. Goal kick. Nolly taking his time to put this one back in play. Serio, Cronin. Charles getting to that one first. And that's into touch. Toronto will put it back in play. There's the big man for Vancouver in center defense, Wesley Charles. It's played for Cronin. Now to Brennan. Vitti. Brennan. 2 minutes of added time. He's just begun that. Cronin. It's in behind Dicchio. Knight is there to clean up the scraps, but he doesn't do a very good job of it. Toronto have it. Vitti. Into the middle. Di Rosario. Surrounded. Robinson.
Pretty tight corners to try to deal inside the top of the box, and Toronto FC have showed very little in width getting the ball in the wide positions. There's very few crosses come in for Toronto FC. When they have, they've caused some troubles, but Toronto FC so far are showing very little in wide positions. Chad Barrett and Vitti have now swapped. Chad Barrett now on the far right. Vitti near side. Up the left side to change things up. See how that works for Toronto FC. But Vancouver have been terrific here in the first half.
Again, the attack gets stalled at the center stripe, and Vancouver bring it back. Again, it's Serio battling BK. It's been a constant battle through 45 minutes. BK thought he was fouled there. Chenard disagrees, the referee. And this half will likely draw to a close in the next few seconds. Dicchio with a flick. There's Di Rosario now. One last chance for Toronto, perhaps. That goes into touch. Toronto will get it back in play with one last gasp here for the visitors, it would appear. Once again, Adrian Serio to take it and to launch one in there to give Toronto one more opportunity before the break to see if they can equalize. It's for Dicchio, but it's cleared by Park. Serio, still no whistle. Knocked in. Here's Di Rosario. And that's offside.
The way Di Rosario doesn't think he was offside. There's a very good angle of it there that, yes, he was. That's the end of the half.
So the halftime whistle has been blown, and it has been a good first half for the Vancouver Whitecaps, and I'd have to say a surprise the way this has gone.
Well, I would say so a little bit because they're missing their key player, Martin Nash, but the rest of them have stood up. They've done a really good job. Their shape's good, their depth, everything has been very good. And Torrey there, the goal scorer that you just saw in your picture, been outstanding on the left side for the Whitecaps.
Well, at the break after 45, a Sportsnet Connected update, and of course we'll have our first half analysis as well. Ansu Touré with the goal. Vancouver Whitecaps lead Toronto FC 1-0.
Nutralite Canadian Championship on Rogers Sportsnet. Brought to you by Nutralite, proud sponsor of Canadian soccer coast to coast.
welcome back to Swangard Stadium in Burnaby, BC. Vancouver Whitecaps leading Toronto FC by a score of 1-0, and there is a contingent of Toronto fans here, and those are not the real fans, by the way. Pretend fans right there, the red patch plastics. Let's have a look at what happened in that first half, Craig, and it was a bright start for Vancouver, who pressured Toronto, and they were rewarded.
Yes, they were, right off the top, and I thought Marcus Haber, the Canadian 20-year-old, did a very good job. And this shot was palmed up by Greg Sutton. It falls very nicely for Torre, who makes no mistake, and he's not going to, you wouldn't think, from that area, not from that far out, and it's just what Vancouver deserved. Great finish for Torre, great goal from the Whitecaps' point of view.
1-0 for Vancouver. Toronto had a couple of glorious opportunities, including one by Di Rosario, but it was just cleared off the line.
Yeah, good ball by VT as well. Good run from Di Rosario. They haven't seen enough of that to Toronto FC. Ball was going toward the line, but Martin does a good job clearing it off the line for the Whitecaps.
And then Pablo Viti sent in, and wouldn't you know it, the woodwork does the job.
Yeah, well, he does well. He gets the ball out of his feet, strikes it well, but hits the post. We need to see more from a Toronto's perspective from Viti, but he was much better in the second half of that half.
Now time for the halftime stats, brought to you by Wendy's, and there's what it looks like. A lot of corner kicks for Vancouver, and that was an indication of how much of the ball that they had in Toronto's end during that 45 minutes, and they were rewarded with the goal by Toure, 1-0 the score. And we're joined now by Vancouver striker Charles Biquet. And Charles, that was a strong first half for the Whitecaps. Your thoughts on how that went?
I thought we did well there defensively. We did well, and we closed the dangerous player, Viti and Dwayne. And I think in the midfield, Chinny did a great job there. Yeah, we kept the ball, and as long as we keep the ball, just give it to me so I can post it, I think we'll be all right.
Second half, do you think you'll change it up, Charles? Do you think you'll do anything different to try and protect the lead, or are you going to go for more goals and really put this game away?
No, I think we're going for another one, and make sure that we put everything on our side in order for us to win this thing, and I think we're doing well right now. We just got to keep, we just one possession away to win that game by 2 or 3.
Okay, Charles, well, thanks for joining us. Congratulations on a good start to this game, and good luck the rest of the way.
Thank you.
And don't forget, you can catch the Thursday edition of Soccer Central on Satanta Sports Canada, 8:45 Eastern Time, 5:45 Pacific Time, and get you all caught up on everything you need to know about the domestic game and the international game as well. So Ansa Toure has the goal, the all-important goal for the Vancouver Whitecaps. They lead Toronto 1-0, second half from Swangard Stadium coming up. We're just moments away from the start of the second half as we welcome you back to Swangard Stadium in Burnaby, BC. Vancouver leading Toronto by a score of 1-0. On the weekend in Houston, after a poor first half by Toronto, head coach Chris Cummins really tore a strip off them at the break. You wonder what he said tonight.
Well, one thing's for sure, he would have had a go at them. They need to be much brighter. They need to close down. They have to have a will to match Vancouver with their effort first, and then their ability should take over, but it hasn't so far. They're out several minutes before the Vancouver Whitecaps. The team has been on the field for several minutes in the middle, huddled up. He wants to see a response from them, and the last game and a half for Toronto FC has not been at all pleasing to Chris Cummins. Will there be a reaction? We'll soon find out.
Well, once again, if Vancouver wins this game, then Toronto must win in Montreal. Then the two teams would be level on points at 9. If this scoreline holds, Toronto would have to win 2-0 at Montreal, and then they would be even on goal difference. They would be even on goals scored, and then it would go to the drawing of lots. Now, of course, there's a long way to go still in this half, but we are looking at the possibility of tie-breaking scenarios before it's done. And of course, Toronto can eliminate all of those possibilities by getting a draw or a victory here this evening. But the Vancouver Whitecaps have been full measure for that first half lead. No changes.
Taylor Torderson will know that the second half has to be good as well, and he must feel that one goal probably isn't enough. They probably need one more at least, because Toronto's going to be pushing on, and you got to think that they're going to be full value for at least one goal. Now from the first half's performance, although they came close a couple times with Viti and Di Rosario.
Well, they're a post and a save off the line by Lyle Martin from having a 2-1 lead right now. At any rate, that's a misplay by Barrett and Harms, allowing Toure to get free. For Biquet, Biquet is a handful, still wins possession, far side to Knight. Martin back to Knight. And the Whitecaps have opened up with pressure on Toronto right away. Brennan clears it, doesn't get it all the way out. Vancouver recover. Park. Dickio's pass went right to DiRosario. DiRosario trying to get by Martin. DiRosario hauled down and get up, says the referee, Chenard. Back come the Whitecaps for BK. He's in past Adekora, who's trying to recover. Adekora does a good job to come back, and he's screaming at the assistant, claiming that should not have been allowed to happen in the first place.
Good run again from BK. Good defending in the end from Adekora as well. BK with a little more pace probably would have taken that away from Adekora, got a shot on. Not the fastest, but couldn't get his body in between him and the ball.
A hot start to the second half here. DiRosario for Cronin. Cronin is unable to keep the ball on the field of play. Martin sends it back to Nolly. Off Charles. Barrett. DiRosario. Foul there involving Gage. Toronto free kick. DiRosario's free kick though goes right to Nolly. Toure. Now Hirano. Charles. Beatty trying to put him under pressure. Knight back to Martin. DiRosario to Vitti. Away comes Chin. Sam Cronin. Now Vitti. Vitti blindly laid it right into the path of Ansu Toure. Arms is fouled. Free kick Toronto.
A few moments ago, saw two very good defensive plays. One by the Vancouver Whitecaps there. Martin against DiRosario on the other end. Adekora getting on the goal side of BK, who tries to get the shot off and well blocked.
Vitti. Vitti goes down. And it's a free kick Toronto here in a very delicious spot from Toronto FC's point of view.
Vitti doing well, trying to get forward, trying to take players on. That's what he's good at. We don't see enough of that from him.
So what Toronto got in mind here with either Barrett, well, no, Barrett was standing over it. He moves to take up his position. It'll be DiRosario. Toronto conjure up something here early in the second half. It's chipped in. There's a header. Chad Barrett just unable to get on the top of that one.
Yeah, he just couldn't get quite over top of it enough. And he was under pressure from Nolly in goal as well. Nolly comes for it. He wasn't going to get there. He gets up well. Barrett just couldn't get it down. That was a little bit high for him. He takes a knock for his efforts as well. Good delivery by Dwayne DiRosario. Dangerous ball in the box. Toronto coming close.
Robinson for DiRosario. Adekora. Toronto for Gage. And Charles whoops it out of there. Canadian back line here, including the goalkeeper Greg Sutton, with Brennan, Serio, Atacora, and Harms. There's a pass that doesn't get to Barrett. Wesley Charles knocks it into touch.
Wesley Charles has been solid as usual for Vancouver Whitecaps in their back line, including the goalkeeper. Not a one Canadian involved there. You got one Japanese player, Hirano. Charles is from St. Vincent and Grenadines, Park, U.S., Martin, U.S., Nolly in goal, also American.
And again, another free kick awarded to the visitors. And again, it'll be Di Rosario. More pace on this one. There's a hit right to Nolly. That was a great free kick.
A great free kick. A good header. He gets it on target. It lands to Barrett. Barrett comes in. Free header. Right at Nolly. He nearly falls into the back of the net with it, but stays up big. Makes the player take the header. Should beat him from there. Can't blame the goalkeeper there. Does a great job holding on to it as well. Vancouver needs to be better.
Here's Vitti trying to get through, but it's Nolly beating him to it.
Toronto has picked it up a little bit. They've had a few opportunities. Good deliveries for free kicks from Di Rosario. They're coming close, Toronto FC. Vancouver needs to pick up their game now.
Atacora. Forward looking for Dicchio or Barrett perhaps, but it's Wesley Charles for Vancouver. Toronto with some chances. Peter Torderson obviously worried about that. The only thing that matters is the score line. Cronin to Harms. Cronin under pressure is behind Vitti. Gage to Piquet. Okay, Toronto a little more aggressive now. Vitti might have deflected off Robinson. There's Dicchio's shot that's deflected, I think, off Lyle Martin. It's a corner kick for Toronto.
And now it's Vancouver Whitecaps' turn to defend. Like the field is slanted because it was like this at the start of the first half as Vancouver came out much brighter, and this time Toronto FC is that Danny Dicchio gets a opportunity at the top. Well defended again by Martin.
So the corner kick to be taken here by Di Rosario. Vitti feigned it as a short kick and then takes up a position right next to the goalkeeper Nolly. And now the referee is going to have some words here for both Vitti and Nolly, primarily Vitti, and maybe Ethan Gage as well. Vitti trying to take up his position, gets a little shot from Charles there as well.
The referee's trying to get it all sorted out in there.
It's actually escalating instead of getting settled down here.
That's not like Jim Brennan to get involved, is it?
It's exactly like Jim Brennan, but it seems as though it's settling down now, but it started as nothing and then it just seemed to simmer and simmer and still until it started to boil, with Vitti trying to take up a position next to Nolly.
And he has every right to hold his ground. He can stay in there. Not foul, of course.
Here's the corner kick now from Di Rosario. Balloons it. Robinson now back to Cronin. Brennan. Unable to get anything out of that, but they still retain possession. Harms, the last man back. Knocks it in, knocked back out. Toronto will have to recover here before Vancouver break on the counter. And that's Jim Brennan cleaning out Wes Knight. And it's getting heated again, and it's a booking for Jim Brennan.
And here's a foul. Knight gets it off his feet, and there's a late challenge from Jim Brennan. And rightly so, booked.
So on 55 minutes here, things are, well, they've boiled over. Knight is okay. Brennan has been booked. And Sature has the only goal, 1-0 Vancouver.
And Jim Brennan, just a few moments ago in front of goal, was very fortunate not to get booked. You watch it at the top of the screen, a little headbutt there. Referee didn't see it. Anything problem with it? No booking there. He got one later, though, rightly so.
That's Barrett looking for Vitti. Vitti's in there, but he can't get the ball before Nolly. Now Dicchio, as Nolly's off his line, he scrambles back. Di Rosario with the ball. And now Vancouver come away. It's Martin for BK. There's a charging Greg Sutton to knock it into touch, and this game has really come to life.
Well, Charles BK said that they were going to go for more goals in the second half, and we figured they must need some. Vitti's been in amongst it in the goal mouth on the last set piece.
And that's back in the Toronto box, and that's now a goal kick for Toronto. BK thinks he was fouled. Surio off camera seems a little bit slow as he takes up his position, and now here's the goal kick from Sutton. Dicchio against Charles. Brennan. Rosario had slipped. He chases Chin. Knight. Challenged by Vitti. Ball was already into touch. Robinson. Di Rosario. Brennan for Robinson. Vitti for Cronin. Good work from Sam Cronin. There's the cross for Robinson. The follow-up shot is woofed again, but neither Robinson nor Barrett had any connection on the ball, hardly whatsoever. Back comes Vancouver. Atakora beating BK. Great defensive work from Nana Atakora. Vancouver getting set to make a substitution here. Number 18 is Mason Trafford getting set to come into this game. And Ethan Gage will come out. So the youngster number 18, or the youngster 18 years old, Ethan Gage comes out. And number 18, Mason Trafford, comes into this game.
Ethan Gage is going to be a very good football player in years to come. He's only 18. He's really developed well. And Trafford's only 22 himself. He's young. Changed by Taylor Torgerson.
Player number.
Shot curls into the far corner. And it was Wes Knight down there, but he couldn't do anything with that. And so it'll be a goal kick for Greg Sutton. Once again, Martin Nash suspended for this game. He said before the game, he says, I think this is the first time I've ever watched the Whitecaps game sitting up in the seats.
And I'm sure he's a little bit nervous, but he must be also delighted with the scoreline and delighted with the way Vancouver Whitecaps have applied their game with the absence of him. Taylor Torgerson, this is the first game that he's been in charge with as a coach without Martin Nash in the lineup as well. So he had a few decisions to make. And so far those decisions have worked well. Chin being the main one who replaced Nash.
Knight flicks it forward. Atakora is the first one back to get it. Sutton gives it back to him. Serio. Dicchio. Di Rosario. Barrett. Di Rosario. Cronin. For Di Rosario. Di Rosario, nice work with Cronin and Di Rosario, and it conjures up a corner kick for Toronto.
Good work from Toronto FC at the top of the box, passing, moving, playing with their heads up. Much better so far for Chris Cummins' team in the second half.
Di Rosario's corner kick now. The last one was a good one, remember. Cronin lets it go through. Robinson. Attendance tonight, 5,688, 5,688. Several hundred above capacity. They've jammed in here everywhere. A few Toronto FC supporters sprinkled in as well. Martin wins that one. And it's Martin on the run. Serio misses with his tackle. Here's Knight. Back for Martin. Martin shot, and it's not a good one at all. Right to Greg Sutton. Toronto dodges a bullet there.
Great work from the Whitecaps as they break forward, and Martin gets a left-footed shot on target. Doesn't strike it at all well, but an opportunity for the Whitecaps. Very well done. Great vision. Good passing, playing with their heads up. Movement's terrific. Look at the little bit of vision there. Now he's just got to do the rest. He's got to execute the shot. Doesn't do a good job with that, though.
Toure. Haber is offside.
That was very close. Very close. The referee's assistant had a good long look at that one.
Harms. Well, as we have another look at this offside.
There's a through ball.
Meanwhile, Di Rosario turns with it. Into the middle, but it comes back towards Di Rosario. Toure, though, was there to bother him, and Hirano clears it. Harms. Back in play to Vitti. Vancouver looking for a handball on Vitti. No call is forthcoming. Cronin working in a tight area, but it's taken away from him by Charles. Good work from Marcus Haber as he was hounded by a couple of Toronto players, but he makes sure that the Whitecaps keep possession. It's a body check by Harms on Toure. And a booking for Kevin Harms.
Canadian Kevin Harms getting booked. The goal scorer for Toronto FC against Vancouver, former Whitecap player as well. Little bump off the ball. The referee thinks that's enough for a booking. His reputation may have got him that booking.
This is Chin. Back to Hirano. Chin, there's Dicchio. Can't get it though. Park for Haber. Haber goes down under the challenge from Robinson. Two Toronto players booked in this game. Brennan in the 56th minute, and then Harms in the 63rd. Park loops one in there. Chasing back is Toure. Return pass from Mason Trafford to Toure. Chin to Trafford. Now Toure. Good work here from the Whitecaps. BK back heel to Hirano, who had made a run. And it's cleared away by Brennan. Vancouver doing a nice job right here. Chin. Vitti is back, and Vitti wins that ball. For Barrett. Charles steps up. Charles gets away from Vitti. Wesley Charles lumbers into the Toronto box and then misplays it at the end. Chad Barrett has not gotten up since that challenge before BK's run.
Well, the Vancouver Whitecap fans are liking what they're watching. The midfield has been creative. The passing, the movement's been great. Chin and Trafford just coming on for Ethan Gage has been involved, not missed a beat. And they move the ball around on the deck. It's pretty to watch.
Di Rosario trying to get free. He's in. Dicchio's in front. Boy, and that's Nolly colliding with his own defender, Jeff Park.
Di Rosario will be a little upset with himself because he got himself in a wide position. And the ball, if it was good enough, Danny Dicchio was waiting at the far post. ends up in the grateful arms of Nolly.
BK. Brennan back for Sutton. Toronto getting set to make a substitution here. It'll be Rowan Ricketts coming into the match at the earliest opportunity. Vitti and Di Rosario. Di Rosario with the ball and with a shot. Well handled by Nolly.
And we'll see a substitution now coming for
Will be
Toronto
Rowan
FC.
Ricketts coming in, and it'll be Chad Barrett coming off. So Rowan Ricketts, who is a sometime starter, it's not Cronin coming off, I don't believe. No, Cronin's just coming over to pick up a little bit of water. It's Chad Barrett coming out of the game. For Rowan Ricketts, a one-time starter for Toronto FC, lost his way a little bit. Now he finds himself coming in off the bench.
Well, he's been begging for his opportunity. He's been playing in the reserves and he's been scoring some goals, and he thinks he should get that opportunity. Well, he played in the second half against Houston. It was a dire performance by everybody, that lineup. And now he's got some opportunity to come and do some work for Toronto FC and give Chris Cummins a real problem next time out for his personnel. Here's his opportunity that he wanted. Can he grasp it?
And while all this was happening, the Vancouver training staff was attending to Wesley Charles, who was slow to get up after Nolly had handled that shot. And he will have to come out for a minute. They've been going at it as hard as they can, these Whitecaps. Try and win this game and force Toronto FC into a situation where they must then win in Montreal and score some goals, more than one to do it.
Player number 19, Chad Barrett.
I'm not sure if anything happened to Wesley Charles or if he's just, if the tank's running on empty.
Well, I think he is getting tired. A few of them are. Charles BK up front's getting tired. He's been chasing a lot of lost causes. He's been terrific up front for the Whitecaps, as has Marcus Haber. Given Toronto FC all sorts of troubles. A real handful.
Toronto have taken 12 shots now to Vancouver's 7. Trafford's shot doesn't really get a good one away as Ricketts had charged him from behind. Cronin in the middle to Robinson. Martin intercepts. Brennan and Knight both go in feet first. Brennan over the top for Di Rosario. Di Rosario back into the box, cleared by Park. Now it's Knight as Vancouver counter. Knight with a lot of space for BK. Adekora trying to get to him. BK! And speaking of Charles BK.
Well, BK's been terrific, getting on the end of these balls all the time. They've been turning Toronto FC. Watch how he holds it up. He creates opportunities. He wins corners for his team. He's strong. He's physical. He holds the ball up. And look at these runs. Dan Adekora gets the best of him on a block shot there. And just a few moments ago, getting a great opportunity as he blasts over. He is getting tired. Look at the ball through. Great ball. Good turn. And unfortunately, strikes it over the bar. Outstanding from the 31-year-old, born in Cote d'Ivoire.
Adekora. That goes off Hirano. And the substitution, Ricketts, comes up limping, but he'll take the throw in here. Harms. Ricketts' ball cleaned out by Park. Adekora can't take it cleanly against BK, who sends Haber on his way. Haber with Serio back. Haber in the box. Serio, though, does a great defensive job on Haber. Serio and Adekora have been tremendous for Toronto at the back tonight.
It's been difficult because those two, like I said, have been a real handful. Toronto FC, when they do turn Vancouver Whitecaps, so with that early ball over the top, we saw a few moments ago from Jim Brennan putting Di Rosario and this one giving Vitti some trouble as well.
Lyle Martin back in play to Wes Knight. West. 20 minutes to go. Vancouver clinging to a 1-0 lead. Vitti, perhaps his best game that we've seen of him this year.
Yeah, he has been pretty bright, especially latter part of the first half, and he's carried on. Had a good chance, hit the post. So far, though, No goals for Toronto SC. A goal may win this Nutralite Canadian Championship. A draw is enough for Toronto.
A 1-0 win by Vancouver puts Toronto under tremendous pressure in that last game against Montreal. However, if they can just claw one back, it's all over. That's how suddenly things will change, or could possibly change. Toure for Vancouver. Haber trying to get free of Serio, who's like glue. Haber back to Trafford. Trafford gets it into the box. Piquet, he can't get by Adokora once again, and falls over Sutton. Lyle Martin. He senses an opportunity, then he overruns the ball. Robinson to Dicchio. Back to Robinson. For Ricketts. Harms. Back to Ricketts. Adokora. Brennan. Toronto now playing with it a little bit. Adokora. Vitti, too hard to hold on to. Offside flag is up.
The difference between the two teams is really how Vancouver just plays simple. They move around, they pass the feet, they support, they give each other options. Every time they get the ball, they have at least 2 options. Toronto FC trying to force the game a little bit. Not playing as simple as the Whitecaps.
Toronto have been offside 5 times, Vancouver 4. There's a looping ball that Sutton comes for. Ricketts against Charles. Dicchio kept possession for Toronto, but then passed it or shot it right towards Toronto. Now it's Harms. Another bad pass, and Gordon Chin has it. Tonight. Back to Chin. Here's Di Rosario. Charles does the work defensively to Martin. Park. Toronto have Johan Smith standing on the touchline, looking as though he's waiting to get into the game here. Toronto. Now Ricketts has it for Toronto. Ricketts. Vitti. Relay back to Ricketts. Harms. Cronin. Dicchio. Dicchio! Toronto still with it. Back heel, another bit offside. Offside flag is up. So Johan Smith is getting set to come into this game for Toronto, as it looks as though we're going to be set for a wild final 15 minutes. That last call offside going against Toronto. And will Smith get on right here? It appears as though he won't, as Jay Nolly's going to get it back in play. Serio against Haber. Serio for Vitti, but there's Hirano. Ricketts committing the foul.
Thinking Smith's going to get an opportunity for Vitti when Toronto FC decide to make that change. Chris Cummins, Nick Dazovic discussing it right now.
Meanwhile, Toure. A wasted effort from him. So, you know what? Smith was standing there looking like he was ready to come in, and now he's going for a little jog. So now he's going to put the blue singlet back on. So that substitution won't happen. Not yet. Robinson. Now it's Harms. For Di Rosario. He's got a bit of space. There it is for Dicchio. Touch it down. And once again, it's deflected. It's a corner kick for Toronto. Toronto having difficulty getting shots through as Vancouver defenders are standing tall.
Well, they're defending like they're supposed to. They're throwing their bodies in the way of it. Good ball by DiRosario to the back post. Dicchio knocks it down. Good strike, and again, blocked by a white shirt. They've been doing that all night. And Toronto finally find a way through. 15 minutes or so left.
Short corner. Into the box. Robinson tries to keep it back in play. You'll have to chase it down. Now it's Brennan. Harms to DiRosario. He has no alternative but to go back to the last man, Harms. Serio. Cronin. Back to DiRosario.
Vancouver have 5 along the back line now, defending this lead.
Ricketts can't get by Hirano. Toure. DiRosario takes it from Trafford. Long range shot. Nolly handles it. Dicchio lurking for a rebound that never came.
Good strike from DiRosario. Good hands from Jay Nolly in net. They'll shoot from everywhere. We've seen that before. Good strike going wide of the goal. Good feet. Adjusted well. Nolly, great shape.
Piqué now for Vancouver. Into Haber. Surya was there. Brennan. Back to Sutton. Here's Brennan. Toronto are firing shots left and right at Jay Nolly, most of them not getting through. Charles now intercepts that pass before it could get to the feet of Vitti. Toure can't get by Harms. Ricketts for Vitti. Vitti's run fizzles out. That's Piqué with it for the Whitecaps.
Fantastic job again by BK.
Haber now. Knight. Back to Haber. Knight again. Robinson, though, for DiRosario. As for Dicchio, it's played right into Vitti. Vitti! Toronto have had their chances. There's no question about that.
Yeah, Vitti's had some chances. He's hit the post. He's come close. Perhaps his best game, but he's got to find the back of the net. Finishing has been a problem at times for Toronto FC. This is it in the first half. He hits the post, comes very close. Then later on, takes a shot from outside, this time left-footed over top of the bar. And just moments ago, trying his luck from the top of the box. Scuffing a shot a little bit wide of the post of Nolly. We have another Toronto FC player down, Adrian Serio.
Serio is not looking too good right now. As Chris Cummins calls Sam Cronin over to give him some instructions. He takes advantage of the Serio injury. Just over 10 minutes to go here in this game, plus added time. Vancouver on the verge of forcing Toronto to go into Montreal in the last game of the 2009 Nutralite Canadian Championship and come up with a result.
Taylor Tornerson has done a great job. You look, when they lost in Toronto, they didn't look a team that was all that organized. They looked like they needed an awful lot of work as we look at Serio coming off the field temporarily at least. But they really had a belief in themselves and won the last 2 games in the Nutralite Canadian Championship to draw level on points with Toronto FC. And as it stands right now, they would go to 9 points if this scoreline was to hold.
So Toronto would then have to win in Montreal to get back on level points with 9 each. And if this score line finishes like this, Vancouver would go to +3. Toronto would be +1, meaning Toronto would need to win by 2. If they win 2-0, then they would draw lots. If Toronto wins by more than that, they would win it based on the most goals scored. But however, Vancouver are looking to get another one here. And they have Toure!
up front with Haber and BK. Torre was the player to make something happen. He scored the first goal. This time he gets on the end of it. He makes no mistake. He strikes a wonderful left foot shot into the top corner. We're right behind it. Beautiful finish for the Whitecaps, and they are going crazy here in Vancouver. What a strike that is by Torre. Both goals coming from Torre. What a night it is for them. So far, the Whitecaps looking now as the favorite.
Well, unless Toronto can get at least one back here, the scenario would be Toronto would have to beat Montreal 4-0 just to be level in the goal differential department. All of a sudden, a huge mountain for the visitors here. Nolly smothers that one and sends the goal scorer Toure on his way. He's got them both. Knocked into touch by Adekora. Vancouver trying to get one more substitution in here. Pino Versailles is set to come in. Pino Versailles, a Haitian. Versailles, a midfielder. And he will substitute Marcus Haber.
Well, Haber is taking his time coming off. He saw it. He's being smart. He's trying to kill some time. He's run himself to the ground, the 20-year-old. Outstanding job. The two strikers, BK and Haber. He deserves a round of applause from the fans here in Vancouver.
And Toronto want to make, looks like a couple of substitutions. Both Johan Smith and Marco Velez are standing there. It won't happen right now, however, as Vancouver have Toure working the ball into the corner, just trying to kill some time. And he's won a corner kick.
Toronto FC cannot afford to give up another goal. They could use one at the other end.
They couldn't afford to give up the last one.
No, they couldn't. But now if they give another one up, it's virtually done. Montreal's not going to lay down and die, even though they're just playing for pride. Chris Cummins is going to roll the dice here with a couple changes.
Marco Velez coming in for Kevin Harms. And so Harms is in, and now it'll be Johan Smith coming in for Jim Brennan. Brennan throws the captain's armband to Carl Robinson, so a double substitution. Velez for Harms, and now Johan Smith for Jim Brennan. 6.5 minutes of normal time to go. Corner kick upcoming for the Whitecaps.
Player number 13, Carol Versailles.
Another opportunity, and then it's clear at the last second. But it'll be Vancouver's ball, and they are making a statement here tonight at Swangard Stadium. Wes Knight will put it back in play. There's Pino Versailles, who has just come into this match. Another opportunity, and down is Sutton. I'm not sure if the referee, I think she'd blown the whistle anyway. As Sutton is now down on the pitch.
Greg Sutton gets into a physical part of the game as it bounces and he has to come for it. He's had concussion problems too as he takes a kick. And Torre blasts over the bar anyway. What a story it is for Ansel Torre. Escaped the Civil War and the problems in Liberia, escaped death on several times against Canada, and he's a goal scorer. Both goals tonight. Terrific story for that young player.
Knight can't get away, but he does win the free kick. He's fouled. 5 minutes to go. The championship trophy for the Nutralite Canadian Championship was not going to be presented tonight, even if Toronto does manage to come back with a draw. It will be presented, and always was going to be presented, in Montreal at the conclusion of the final game. Now, fortuitously for the Vancouver Canucks, the Vancouver Whitecaps, pardon me, is that they will be in Montreal to play the Impact a couple of days after Toronto go in there, so they will send a delegation there in advance in case they're the winners, and they very well might be the way this is going now. a run right now for Johan Smith. Knocked into the box, cleared by Park. Atakora into the box. Cleared by Lyle Martin. Robinson back to Serio.
Toronto FC have had their chances, Jerry. They just haven't been able to finish. Vancouver Whitecaps is about scoring goals. And they've done a good job finishing in the final third. Vancouver. Toronto, not so much.
Well, for Toronto now, it's just about getting one back to make the job manageable, at least in Montreal. But right now, it would look to be very, very difficult. Vancouver's job simply to stop Toronto from scoring. Cross deflected. Corner kicks for Toronto. Di Rosario will put it in play. Martin Nash obviously quite pleased, but sitting in the edge of his seat. Di Rosario, it's a good one. Deflects over somebody. And it's kept in play. And now it's Mason Trafford on the run, but there's Cronin back to beat him to it. Atakora. Charles with the defensive work to Toure. BK. Two and a half minutes of normal time. And that one goes right to Sutton. Velez knocking it over the top, and it's right to the waiting arms of Jay Nolly.
Ladies and gentlemen, tonight again, 5,688. Thank you for your support.
Atakora. Robinson. Three Toronto players charging it. Ricketts. Ricketts with the cross. Back is Knight, beating Johan Smith to it. The Vancouver crowd here roaring their approval on every good play by the Whitecaps. Robinson. Toronto desperate at least to get one offside. The goodbye chant underway here. Toronto looking for a lifeline to get back into this. A monumental task awaits them in Montreal in a couple of weeks' time, and of course we'll have that game for you right here on Rogers Sportsnet. Here's Ricketts. Dicchio can't get there. Goes into touch. So this will be Nolly taking his time to put it back in play. There's what it looks like. Vancouver with a +4 goal difference. Toronto even, and so they would have to win the game by 4. Simple as that. Unless they're able to get one in the dying moments of this one. Dicchio against Lyle Martin. Johan Smith. Pass for Di Rosario is a short one. He can't handle it. Toronto ball, however. Robinson. Charles once again standing tall, confidently heading that one back out. Velez to Serio. Last minute here. Before added time, there will be 3 minutes added on. We're into that. 3 minutes of added time. Vancouver 2, Toronto nothing. Anso Toure has them both. One in the first half, one in the second half. Atakora for Velez. Vitti has it. Robinson. Return ball for Vitti. Ricketts. Ricketts is deflected, but there's Nolly.
Nolly's had a solid game, not without making a few saves, confident saves, good hands. Nothing that he shouldn't do, but commanding the 18-yard box. He's been outstanding. Had some problems in the league game against Portland during the weekend. Not so much tonight. He's been terrific in goal. Solid.
Toure. Now Hirano. Just flips one into touch. Adekora quickly for Carl Robinson. That's deflected.
Nervous times there as you see him backpedaling. Just gets a touch, and then Nolly's got to adjust his feet to the cross. Wasn't sure where that was going. Vancouver's doing a great job holding their line way up the field. Wesley Charles in command at the back.
Ricketts. Ricketts' ball floats over everyone. Couldn't get around it. Now it's Smith chasing it. He can't keep it in play. This one is just about over. Toronto have made it very difficult for themselves. They were in the driver's seat. They were in a situation where a draw or a win, they clinch it. They could send a second team to Montreal, rest their big players for important league games. They'll be unable to do that now as they'll have to go all out in Montreal in 2 weeks' time. And again, Vancouver will get the ball here.
And the fans of Vancouver are having a great time and giving the players a round of applause, which they deserve. They've been absolutely terrific. Vancouver not unfamiliar with winning trophies. They won the North American Soccer League Soccer Bowl in 1979, won Canadian Championships, USL, CSL, oldest, longest running professional soccer club in North America, 23 straight years.
When Toronto FC denied, at least for the moment, a chance of winning their first ever cup in their 3-year history. Cronin, one last gasp. Charles clears it, and there it is, the final whistle. The Vancouver Whitecaps have come up huge. And so the Vancouver Whitecaps on 2 goals by Ansel Toure. There's head coach Tater Torgerson. He figured this would be a tough one. He has to be a very, very happy man right now, knowing that they've done everything that they needed to do to give themselves a chance, with Toronto still having one more match still to play.
Unbelievable response from the Whitecaps. Losing in Toronto in the first game of the Nutralite really didn't look like a team that had any capabilities of coming back. They've worked hard in training. They've organized themselves. They look a totally different team. That's 3 wins on the bounce. And now it's up to Toronto FC to possibly do the big one in Montreal.
So, Ansel Toure getting both goals, one in the first half, one in the second half. Tater Torgerson, his team, over the moon over this one. They beat Toronto FC 2-0. We'll be back with more after this.
The Nutralite Canadian Championship on Rogers Sportsnet. Brought to you by Nutralite, proud sponsor of Canadian soccer coast to coast. By BMO Financial Group, proud to support soccer across Canada. And by PokerStars.net, the world's largest poker site. Visit them today and learn to play for free.
Well, the celebration is on, especially with that man right there. Ansel Toure has both goals as the Vancouver Whitecaps have defeated Toronto FC by a score of 2-0, and they have that stranglehold on the Nutralite Championship now. And we are joined by head coach Tater Torgerson of the Vancouver Whitecaps. Tater, first of all, congratulations on a marvelous performance by your side here this evening.
Yeah, thank you very much for that. I think we played very well, and I think we deserved it.
You know, Tater, you lost the first game to Toronto. The team has responded. They've completely been absorbed by the different changes that you brought in and implemented. How did you get the belief in this team that they could actually win this championship?
Well, we have a fantastic atmosphere in the group, and when I know that I can send 11 players on the field who will die for it, then I'm sure that we would be able to get the result, because they are good football players, and they showed us that today. Fantastic shape, both offensively and defensively. Great goals and a very good working spirit in the group.
You had been without Wesley Charles, your big, strong center half there with a suspension, etc. He played very well tonight. A thought on Wesley Charles and the importance of him to your team?
Yeah, well, as I've said, he has been a very important player for us all the time since he came here last summer, and I just feel fortunate to have him in my group. He's a great player.
Tater, once again, congratulations on a solid all-round effort by your team tonight, and I'm sure you'll be in Montreal waiting to accept that trophy should it happen for your team. Well done.
Thank you. Thanks.
So let's have a look back now at how we got to this point with Vancouver Whitecaps simply outright winning this game.
Yeah, they worked hard. They had a will to believe in themselves, and that ball in with the box, and Greg Sutton palms it back in, and watch how it falls very kindly right to Torre. He makes no mistakes, makes it 1-0, and that's exactly what Vancouver Whitecaps deserved at that time.
Torre was not done. Here he is in the second half.
And this time is when he really used his pace. BK did a great job all night long holding it up and laying it off. And look at that for a left foot strike. And that just erupted the Vancouver crowd and really gave them an opportunity where they felt they were going to win. Now will they win the Canadian Championships? Still got some time left.
Well, it's not completely in their hands, but they have definitely done everything they could to put themselves in the driver's seat. Toronto must win, and they must score at least 4 goals in order to have a chance. Whether it'll go to lots, drawing of lots, or whether they'll win it outright, it all depends on the final score of that game in 2 weeks' time. Now, the next time we see you here on Rogers Sportsnet with a live football game will take place on June 13th. It's New York Red Bulls at Toronto FC. We'll have that one for you, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. And so, for Craig Forrest and our entire crew, I'm Jerry Dobson. Once again, the final score, Vancouver Whitecaps 2, Toronto FC 0. We'll see you next time.